Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching 6th and final part of What If Naruto Becomes Rayearth, Knight of Wind. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
You want me to do what? Tsunade Senju is not easily surprised. In fact, she is only surprised when she wins a bet, which happens every time a star dies, which is a long time. But now, people could say that Tsunade, the legendary healer, was surprised by something else, what the council asked her to do. It had been a day since the invasion, or one-day war, as many people call it. Konoha was being rebuilt at a slow but steady pace. The walls and doors of Konoha were the first things to be fixed, followed by the broken hospital and ninja academy, which were important for both civilians and ninjas. The battle took a huge toll on the attackers. Konoha lost less than half of its full force, mostly chunin and ninjas on the walls. Only one Junin was reported dead, along with the bodies of 8 Suna ninjas. Thankfully, there were no casualties among the genin, and Anbu also didn't report any deaths. For Suna, they lost half of their force, along with the demon inside Gaara. 3 hours later, Suna gave up and asked for the bodies of their dead to be returned so they could be buried according to Suna customs. This would be done as soon as a new Hokage was chosen. Hiruzen had died, so there was no one to take over as Hokage. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Naruto, and Kakashi were the only ninjas who could be Hokage, but Naruto was still too young and lacked the wisdom that comes with time and missions. No one doubted his power, but he was a genin and still too young and impulsive to be Hokage. Kakashi was easily discarded as Naruto, not for his age or lack of experience, but because he was lazy and was always late. They needed someone punctual, and who actually worked without having Icha in his mind 24/7. Same with Naruto, nobody discarded him for his power, but the fact was that those negative traits that made him a legend on Konoha, and other parts would not benefit Konoha reputation. Jiraiya was a pervert and ran his own spy network. He was the reason Konoha knew about Akatsuki. He was a powerful Sannin, if not the strongest of the three. However, Sume and one of the newly named elders, Yoshiko Nara, who spoke on behalf of all the village women, ninjas and civilians alike. There is no way in hell we are letting a pervert of his standard get the office. Imagine all the things he will do to us with such power. That's what both women screamed, and oddly, it sounded like something all women would shout, so Jiraiya was out of the running, but the male councilman liked his books. So Tsunade was the last choice. She had a bad habit of gambling, but Shizune could help her control it. She also liked sake, which most cages before her did, and she had power, so she was a more decent Hokage candidate. Also, there was a fifth candidate, but Sasuke killed Danzo, who wanted the job as much as Naruto did, so why should I accept the position of Hokage, gentlemen? Tsunade asked, crossing her arms over her melons. This made many men remember that they had wonderful wives waiting for them at home, or that they used to have wonderful wives and swore they would never marry again because they were afraid their wives' spirits would come back to haunt them for the rest of their lives. Tsunade-sama, you are the only decent candidate of all the possible ninjas, said Inoichi. Naruto is still too young. No one would follow a child. He needs time to grow up. Shuza added, Kakashi is lazy and always late. That reputation would hurt Konoha if he became Hokage. Shikaku continued, and Jiraiya-sama. Hiyashi trailed off. I get it, no one but me can fill the shoes Sarutobi-sensei left, and the question is why I should, not why you chose me, Tsunade said. Tsunade-sama, you are directly an heir of Hashirama Senju rule, you are bound by blood, nobody is better to lead Konoha than you. A Senju, a Sannin, Sume said. Besides, I think it would be good for you. How many lives could have been saved? Tsunade, who was a medic, knew that life was priceless. Okay, but I won't take over until a week after Sarutobi-sensei's funeral. I don't think it's right to have a festival before his funeral, and I have to run a hospital in the meantime, Tsunade said, noticing that the council members were nodding. So, Do any of you know how to deal with Sasuke, Orochimaru, and Akatsuki? She asked out loud. Not much. Sasuke Uchiha left Konoha with almost 100 root members, all Anbu level, and a sword with the latent chakra of Shukaku and Kyuubi. We know he used 4 tails of Kyuubi's chakra to make Naruto, and when Naruto killed her with the Omega Rasengan, that power was lost, but it will come back with time. Time is what we need to get back on our feet, said Hiashi. Orochimaru isn't as much a threat as he used to be, but he's still cocky and shouldn't be ignored. He'll probably try to catch Sasuke now that he's outside of Konoha, and all the Uchiha scrolls that could be found in the Uchiha compound are gone, so it's likely that Root destroyed the place on Sasuke's orders. We'll send some genin to clean. Is nothing, Inoichi. As for Akatsuki, they are a group of S-class criminals, so we need S-class ninjas to fight them. There's not much logic behind that, Sume said. Wrong. A genin can defeat a cage with a proper jutsu. Naruto had an instant, yet ridiculous cage killer, and yesterday he showed 3 of those attacks, one of them literally atomizing. Duh, you idiot. Remember what Sarutobi-sensei said? He told Itachi to kill the clan. He was just doing what he was told to do. Technically, he is not guilty of the crimes he is accused of, Tsunade said. Itachi killed his whole family in cold blood, even if he was told to. Killing a family, even if they were planning a coup, is just as bad as Orochimaru's experiments. Shikaku fought back. Well, said Tsunade, not much was gained that day, unless you count a mentally unstable Sasuke. True, said Tsunade, not even Ibiki and I were able to snap Sasuke back. Tsukuyomi is a bad technique. Ouch. Ten, that's enough. Neji Hyuga, prodigy of the Hyuga clan, direct heir of the branch family head Hisashi Hyuga, finally snapped of his arrogant self, rather painfully, and just recovering from a battle where his arms were broken, along with his ribs, was again on bed, a full body cast on his body, except for his right leg, and his face, which sported several bruises of. Who had talked to his cousin before about how to help her open her heart to her true love. Neji sometimes wanted to kill Naruto for showing the bold, not weak, not shy, and completely blunt side of his cousin, but that would have happened in the future if he was always around Naruto, so he didn't. But that wasn't the point. The reason he was complaining so loudly was because Tenten was healing him, if you can call it healing, to pull out one strand of his beautiful hair at a time, along with one hair from each of his eyebrows, while Tenten looked happy. Please, if you want me to get better, stop pulling my hair apart, he begged. The girl pouted and pulled on some elastic bands, saying, What's with the bands? She just pointed her buns, and Neji's face went completely white. Get away from me. No one will put buns in a Hyuga's hair, it's not natural. Hyuga aren't supposed to scream either, but you're doing it, his bed neighbor said. Shut up, Naruto Uzumaki, Neji snapped. He was sharing a room with all the genin wounded in the invasion, including Naruto, Kiba, Shino, Sakura, Choji, and Lee. Ino, Tenten, and Hinata were not hurt badly enough to need hospitalization. Naruto was the son of Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, son of Kushina Uzumaki, wife, lover, friend, sparring partner of Minato, maybe the last Uzumaki on the world, former container of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, holder of the Yang Chakra of the Kyuubi, the Rayearth of Wind, an apprentice of the Toad Sage Jiraiya, a huge and impressive dossier. It was amazing he didn't made it to Chunin, but considering he had cage power and tactical abilities of a genin, it was of no surprise. Chunin had to be balanced, and Naruto wasn't. But to his growing pleasure and vengeance, Naruto was also being nursed by Hinata, who, he hates to admit, is a much better nurse than Tenten. At least Tenten went to the trouble of getting the nurse dress. Still, Neji doesn't understand why she rubs her whole chest on him every time she leans over to make room for his pillow. Hinata told Naruto, Naru-kun, you must eat. But she didn't want him to eat just any food. She wanted him to eat hospital food, which Naruto calls food of hell. He hates the tasteless food they serve in hospitals, and the fact that he was refusing to eat like a 5-year-old, closing his mouth, pouting, and turning his head away from Hinata's spoon was funny. And weird. Hinata said, Naruto-kun, eat. Again, but he just shook his head. Naruto, eat up. She said, but he just shook his head again. Eat. She said as she slammed her hand on Naruto's leg casts. Naruto screamed, "Ah!" and choked as Hinata shoved the food down his throat. He coughed because the food tasted bitter, and Naruto glared at his girlfriend, saying, "Hinata Hyuga, I hate hospital food. It doesn't matter who feeds me, it will always taste bitter and tasteless. That's not supposed to be food." "Oh, come on Naruto, it might not taste good, but it's full of proteins and nutrients your body needs," Sakura said, crossing her arms. "I don't care what doctor speak you try to sell me, Sakura-chan, I will not eat that yaoi." Naruto yelled again as Hinata hit his cast leg to make him eat. "Would you stop hitting my leg, woman? Why can't you be like Panda-chan and try to seduce me?" Naruto said, being as blunt as only he can be in making Tenten blush and Neji gape, "Seduce me? Tenten was trying to seduce me." And then, as is a Hyuga tradition, turn beef red and faint. "Oh, great, you made Neji do a Hinata." Kiba laughed. "I haven't passed out in a long time, Kiba." Shino finally said, with Naruto around, "It's only a matter of time," which made everyone laugh. "Oh Kami," Shino made a joke. Kiba said. Shikamaru added, making Shino's eye twitch under his glasses, "It's a sign of the end of the world." "It's true that Naruto changed the arena into another Valley of the End, and it's true that Tenten looks good in pink," Kiba said. She yelled, "Hey, it's not my fault that this thing is pink. Blame the staff." Shikamaru said, "In any case, we have bigger things to worry about." He said, "If it's about the Biju power Sasuke stole from Naruto and Gaara, there's nothing to worry about. Naruto can handle that easily, he's a Rayearth, a being that can easily beat a Biju, even Kyuubi." Ino said, "Ino think a little, Naruto had to use limit to beat Naruto." A genin in the room said, "I've heard that jutsu was as fast as light and could even bring down a cage." He didn't seem too impressed by Naruto's use of two of the legendary Yondaime Hokage jutsus. The group heard Kakashi say, "The true power of the Flying Thunder God can only be seen on an open field with hundreds of kunai with the jutsu formula on them." When they turned around, they saw Kakashi sitting on a window without his usual book. When used in large numbers, not even a Uchiha with a fully developed Sharingan can hope to follow the pattern of the jutsu. That's why Iwa lost so many ninjas. Kakashi said, "That jutsu is one of Konoha's best, along with the Reaper eating seal that was used to beat Kyuubi and seal the beast on Naruto. Don't underestimate this technique. Even though Naruto only has one kunai, he holds a relic that any village would fight a war for. But the jutsu is useless to anyone without the hand seals, Kakashi-sensei, da. I mean, the Yondaime gave the hand seals, and they're weird, they're not on the 12 usual hand seals." Naruto exclaimed. "That's true, but it wouldn't take long for foreign ninjas to find the hand seals," Kakashi said as he pulled out his three-pronged kunai. "Naruto, you hold the legacy of the Yondaime greatest jutsu on your hands, you unwittingly took several steps to complete the Rasengan. True, the Omega Rasengan can be considered superior to a complete Rasengan imbued with an elemental property, but is only because of your limit mode that you were able to form such Biju killer attack," Kakashi said, flicking the kunai around his fingers. "Not only that, but the Flying Thunder God can be a turn of battle last resort technique. Your whole body felt the effects of that jutsu the first time you used it. Minato-sensei had to go to the hospital after using the Thunder God, but that was only once. The next time you use the Thunder God, you won't feel any strain on your body," Kakashi said as he gave Naruto the kunai. "Make." No one knew what to ask or say, so there was silence. Finally, Sakura asked, "Sensei, who is going to be the next Hokage?" Sai is still up for debate. Tsunade Hime and Jiraiya-sama are the most popular candidates, but first we must pay our respects to Sarutobi-sama, who was also our Hokage and the oldest Kage on the elemental nations to date. In 2 days, a memorial will be held for him and the ninjas who died during the invasion. After that, Rebuilding will start, and hopefully a week later we will have. Kakashi knew why. Konoha was special not just because it had the strongest ninjas ever or was attacked by the strongest Biju ever, but also because the Hokage, unlike other cages, spent more time with the village, especially the children. Hiruzen saw the children not just as the future of the village's fighting force, but also as the future of the village itself. It's the next generation that will fix our mistakes, son, and learn from them so they don't happen again, Kakashi's father once told him. When Hiruzen said the same thing in his last moments, it moved Kakashi a lot. I know that he meant a lot to you, Naruto. He meant a lot to all of us, maybe not as much as your relationship with him, but he was still important to us. The only way we can honor his memory is to carry on his legacy. It's up to you, to all of you, that Konoha will prosper, Kakashi said as he walked to the door and opened it. To the surprise of the people in the room, a large group of young children. Can I help you all? Kakashi asked. Strangely, Hinata's sister Hanabi was the one to answer. We are here to give our thanks, she said in a shy way, which was strange since she had been the most talkative of the two sisters before. Kakashi only smiled as he let the small children in. They started to crowd around the injured ninjas in the room, and even those who weren't hurt got something, like flowers or a card. It warmed the hearts of the people in the room to know that their good deeds weren't forgotten. Kakashi's eyes kept smiling until he felt a pull on his pants. When he looked down, he saw a little girl with 2 flowers in her hands. Old ninja, she said. Kakashi looked old because of the color of his hair, but he didn't mind or care. Kneeling down, he took the flowers from the girl. Old ninja cool, she said as she turned to look at the other genin. Standing up, Kakashi could see that many of the genin there welcomed the gifts with warm smiles. After a war, maybe the only thing you want is to see the happy faces of small children and your loved ones. Kakashi looked around and saw that the genin were surprised to be treated like heroes, especially Naruto. He was treated like a hero on the level of the Yondaime Hokage, Naruto's father, and, like Minato, Naruto was supposed to shake up the shinobi nations in Konoha to bring about the peace and change that everyone had been waiting for. In the years to come, many would write of that battle that took place, the crater that was once the arena, and the arena itself would be known as Oblivion Threshold, and the events that took place before and after the battle, the birth of Naruto, the 12 years of pain, the life of a ninja through the eyes of the Unbreakable One, the Chunin exams, the rising of a Rayearth, the change, the rebirth of the Sunshine, the fall and rise of the Caged Prophet, the corruption of the Fallen Brother, the rise of the Red Dawn, the hunt of the Nine, the invasion, the rise of the dead, and the battle of wills, along with the events to come until the departure of Naruto to Crystalia would be known as the prelude of the Rayearth Wars. A prelude that would happen again on 3 more worlds, where the remaining Rayearth Knights and the Rayearth Queen live. Kakashi knew that he and the other friends of the Rayearths would be very important to what would happen next. But right now, Kakashi Hatake is more interested in how the rest of his team, Team 7, interacts with the other people. He wants to see how the little kids try to get the attention of Naruto-senpai, and how the little girls try to get Sakura to teach them that nasty right hook she has. Even though Sasuke had betrayed Konoha, he felt like there was still hope for him. After all, he was going up against Naruto, the boy who had broken Neji of the Fate Thing and Gaara of his murderous ways. Maybe, just maybe, he had the best chance of breaking Sasuke of his ways, but who knew? With Naruto, nothing is certain. He just enjoyed the happy sight for the time being, knowing that it might be a long time before he sees it again. After a week and 2 days, Tsunade sorted through the papers in front of her with a little bit of irritation. Many of the papers on the desk were signed orders left by Sarutobi-sensei, along with many others. One of the orders was to temporarily disband Team 7, put Naruto, Sakura, and Kakashi on any team that could use their help, and the same for Kakashi. Sarutobi also gave the new Hokage the power to reactivate the team if necessary. It had passed 9 days since the invasion. A week ago they had finally buried their dead. The memorial had been very emotional. Children cried their mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters. Many mourned for the fallen Hokage. But they noted it could have been worse. 50 dead. 42 were male.
8 female. 1 sole Junin died, and they lost a cage. That was the official record of the lost on their ninja force. On the civilian side, an unofficial report to her eyes only. 3 elders died. A whole organization formed solely of emotional detached Anbu-level ninja left with a traitor, who had in his power a sword capable of absorbing Biju power out of a jailer, and possibly out of a Biju itself and seal it. 100 of civilians killed in the hands of the resurrected Minato and Kushina, out of Neji's report, not to mention the millionaire costs of repairs of Konoha. At least she could count the arena out. Oblivion Threshold was a place that no one would enter, more by its historic and sentimental value. It would be a nice touristic spot, and considering they got a wave masonry working on a statue to be placed on the middle of the crater, or in the edge, in any case it would have specially carved the names of the fallen on the invasion, a memorial sort to speak.
With a huff, the new Gondame Hokage took the seat that other cages had taken before her. Almost all of them had died in battle, and she knew she would too. Konoha had enemies, and until they were dealt with properly, Konoha would not have the peace that many ninjas wanted. Her own ceremony was just a formality. She took the mantle the day after the memorial. It was clear that Sarutobi had enemies in Konoha who would enjoy tearing all of his work apart, like the former civilian council that he got rid of. The Council of Ninjas had urged her to take the mantle because it was clear that Konoha would fall into the hands of greedy politicians, especially those who hated Naruto, without a leader to guide it. Hinata had gone to see Naruto in the hospital after the memorial. Naruto had gotten out of bed on his own, even though Hinata tried to stop him. Now, he didn't even need to raise his hands to use his elemental powers. It was clear that something that happened in what Kakashi called limbo had changed Naruto's Rayearth powers. His telekinesis and chakra were still the same, but his elemental powers like wind and lightning were. That had torn up their clothes right down to their underwear. It was a big surprise for everyone, even Hinata, who took advantage of the situation and used her charms to stop Naruto. It worked. Until he jumped on the window and fell 3 floors. He landed right, but Hinata was furious and vowed to get even the next time they were alone. The brat sure knew how to pick him. In the end, Tsunade lost her bet, gave Naruto her necklace, had to stay in Konoha, and had to do whatever Jiraiya wanted, which was not so bad, since she made money out of it by posing for the cover of his next Icha Icha book, dressing up in a naughty nurse outfit for his eyes only, and not trying to kill him while he was peeking. Well, he got even, and I don't blame him. At least I made him happy. Now what do I do about this? Tsunade thought as she looked at the papers her sensei had hidden for a long time. They were the written orders and testimony of the Uchiha massacre. It turned out that her sensei had wanted Itachi to kill the leaders of the coup, because without the head the body dies. But the elders thought that was a bad idea, because killing only another Uchiha will be waltzing around Konoha any second now, Tsunade thought. She raised her eyes and saw a pair of red eyes in a shadow near a corner. Sigh. Speak of the devil, she said, leaning back in her chair. A second later, she was facing the second worst traitor Konoha had ever produced, or so Konoha thinks. Itachi Uchiha, she said. Tsunade Senju, Gondame Hokage, so what I heard is true. Sarutobi-sama and the elders were killed by my brother. He said, correction, Itachi. Your brother killed the elders. Sensei died at the hands of a beast of pure chakra. Itachi said in a cool, calm voice, if my brother called a beast to kill Hiruzen Sarutobi, then he is much more to blame than the beast itself. Whatever Itachi, the beast is dead, so Sensei and those who knew the truth about the massacre can't do anything about it, Tsunade said. Wrong. Konoha now knows, remember his death was televised, and so his words. No one will ignore the words of a dying man again, trust me. The sight of a beast created out of their anger and scorn, ignoring the wish of Yondaime-sama is prime example of such thing. Uchiha, there are a lot of reasons I should have you arrested. You're working with an organization that wants to find Biju. I don't know why, But I can tell you it's all for nothing because Kyuubi was taken out of Naruto and the beast is no longer inside him, she said. Yes, it is, but Naruto-kun is still a target in the end, Itachi said, looking at Tsunade straight in the eyes with his Sharingan eyes open. He wasn't there to fight. He just wanted to talk and do a final test. I researched the seal the Yondaime created to imprison Kyuubi, yin chakra of the beast, which was used and extracted of Naruto-kun were used to create the chakra beast known as Naruto, Naruto-kun Dark Psyche. That chakra is cut in half due to the fact my foolish little brother believed he could kill Naruto-kun and bring Konoha to its knees with only 4 tails. It will take time to those 4 tails to reform in 9 again, 9 yin chakra tails, Itachi began. At the same time, the yang chakra of the beast was left on purpose by Yondaime-sama to be tainted and turned into normal chakra by Naruto-kun's chakra, slowly but surely, to gain control, to become a power to be reckoned with, to stand against the man behind the curtain, Itachi said, looking Tsunade in the eyes and asking, so? You know? Tsunade nodded, I assume Nar. Your mother knew a lot about myths, Itachi. I bet she told you a lot of stories that had nothing to do with ninjas. You should burn in hell for what you did to her. She gave you life, and you took it away in cold blood. Tsunade hissed, my only regret of that night was torturing Sasuke with false images of the massacre. I killed them quickly, quietly, and painlessly. I know I'll have to pay for my. And by the way, he said without looking at Tsunade, I only liked her stories when I was 4, when I was still a child. So you just talk and leave, she snapped. I thought you were going to kill me for what Konoha did to your brother, he said. No amount of words can describe how angry I am at Konoha and the elders for breaking their promise, but I also know that bloodshed won't solve the problem. The problem now is. He said, turning back to her, how are you going to stop me and Kisame from capturing Naruto-kun? With those last words, Tsunade punched Itachi in the head, ripping his head clean off his neck. Poof. She said bitterly, Shadow Clone, as the smoke went away, you hear all of this, Jiraiya? Yes, Haim, everyone. I'm leaving now. With a nod, Tsunade stopped feeling Jiraiya's presence in the room. Someone as powerful as Itachi should have been able to feel Jiraiya's presence. How do I stop you? She asked out loud. I don't need to. Naruto is enough to stop you and Kisame. Naruto Uzumaki. Hinata's voice rang through the whole Hyuga compound, waking everyone up and making them look at her. They all wondered what was wrong with her. She yelled, Naruto, come out from where you're hiding. Hiyashi sighed and said, just like her mother, before putting the privacy seals on his studio. As the angry heiress stormed around, she used her Byakugan to scan every inch of the compound and every person she came across. Naruto was too smart to be caught, as his rap sheet on the Ambu base shows. Her white eyes kept looking around the whole compound. Everyone had passed her strict tests, but she still hadn't found Naruto-kun. Naruto-sensei is out training, Hanabi said suddenly, looking at her sister, who was tearing through the compound like a dragon looking for its baby. Hinata asked, and when did he leave? Hanabi said, I think when you started screaming, that was his cue to leave, and Hinata walked away, leaving the compound. Thanks, Hanabi-chan, said the girl as Naruto came out of a trap door in the ceiling, which was a way for Hyuga to leave the compound if it was ever attacked. How did he find it? Is this Naruto Uzumaki? He was bored and didn't have any training, so he had nothing better to do than look around the Hyuga compound and find the secret passages. Hanabi stood with her arms crossed in front of Naruto and said, okay, now for my reward. Naruto huffed in mild embarrassment and asked, are you sure you want to learn it, Hanabi-chan? It's not right for a Hyuga to use it. I don't care, if I can learn it I can finally master the only art I can't master. Do you have any idea what it's like to not be able to use such a jutsu in a class full of brats? Hanabi said. For your information, Lil Firecracker, I do. I repeated the academy 3 times, at least they're not clones. Naruto said. Besides, why don't you ask someone, like your In his hands were the grades from that month's exams, specifically Hanabi's grades in taijutsu, genjutsu, ninjutsu, history, art, traps, and the three most important areas for a shinobi: transformation, clones, and substitution. He remembered his grades well. When it came to traps, he was the king, without a doubt, in all three chances.
In taijutsu, he had to deal with the taijutsu prodigies of each year.
In genjutsu, he'd rather not remember. In ninjutsu, it was clear he got straight A's because he never ran out of chakra, unlike other people. In strategy, the elective for Hanabi was the idea of a perfect Hyuga, a straight A, except that she couldn't change. You can't change? Naruto asked. The little Hyuga nodded, pouting like a puppy dog. I can't, and I don't know why, Hanabi said, pouting even more. Every time I want to change into something, well. Hanabi trailed off, before making the familiar ram seal and saying, transform. Hanabi was able to change, and the smoke showed that. Naruto didn't even blink when the smoke came out. And what Hanabi looked like instead. The only proof that the woman in front of him was Hanabi was that she was in her early 30s, had long indigo hair that reached her waist, the same Hyuga pupilless eyes, and pale skin, all of which would make Tsunade feel bad, and was wearing Hanabi's old clothes, which didn't change. Hanabi pointed to herself and said, "This is my problem. I don't see what the problem is, you changed." Naruto said. "But I can't change into anything else." Hanabi replied. "I can only change into that woman, I can only change into my mother." "Your mother?" Naruto asked. "I only have pictures of her, a cassette she recorded with Hinata Oni-chan's favorite lullaby, and a portrait that hangs on my father's studio. That's all I have." "Forget her," Naruto said. "Hanabi, you're lucky." Hanabi shot him an angry look. "What do you know, Uzumaki? You don't know your mother, and you didn't kill your mother." She shouted. "My mom died while giving birth to me," Naruto said seriously, kneeling in front of Hanabi, who looked at the blonde with shock. "But unlike you, I don't have anything to remember her for, nothing. Well, maybe that she loved me, just like my dad." "Why do you want to forget her face?" Naruto asked. "Because it slows me down. It stops me. I'm a Hyuga, damn it. I'm not supposed to feel anything." Hanabi snapped, sobbing and staring at Naruto with tear-filled eyes. "Since when?" Naruto asked, staring at Hanabi in the face. "Since when caring is a sign of weakness, and since when having the last name Hyuga makes you an ass and a machine without feelings. Is the way, sob, it was." Before Konoha was born, Hanabi sobbed, lowering her gaze on Naruto. She didn't want to face him, not because she was ashamed, but because she was afraid of his eyes, which scare her because they show his soul to anyone who looks at them and also seem to dig deep into the soul of the person looking. Naruto put his hand on her shoulder and said, "Well, that has to change. Gigi said that in the end, we are the ones who hold the keys to the future. Do you want your children to be like you, or Neji before our battle?" She slowly shook her head. "I can't help you with the transformation, but I can tell you this, if you can transform into your mother so perfectly, then you can do anything." He stopped when he felt something grab him. When he turned around, Hanabi's face was buried in his black shirt. "Please, Naruto-ni-san, help me," she said in a barely audible whisper. Naruto softened a bit and patted her head, saying, "I will. I will." On a corner, Hinata turned off her Byakugan and smiled. It seemed like her sister had finally broken out of her self-imposed Hyuga shell and was starting to open up to the world. It was funny to see Naruto act so mature, especially around children. She knew then that Naruto would make a great father because he understood how a child felt and didn't forget that he or she was once a child, too. Hinata slowly walked away to help her sister as well. Her relationship with Naruto could wait, and Tenten had already asked her for more tips on how to charm a Hyuga. "So, Itachi, what do you want me to do?" Kisame asked when he saw Itachi open his eyes. "Nothing," Itachi said as he stood up. "Nothing? Are you crazy or what? Do you want to capture a Rayearth by yourself?" Kisame asked. "Leader Sama's orders to capture Naruto-kun must be ignored," Itachi said. "And why, pray tell, do you want to disobey the orders of a man who can kill us without even blinking?" Kisame asked. "First of all, Naruto-kun's power is growing at an alarming rate. In 3 months, he'll probably have mastered all of his Rayearth powers, making him stronger than Leader Sama. Second, Konoha now supports him, and it's a bad idea to go to war with someone who killed Ibiju. None of us can do that. A Yondaime-sama came closer, but Naruto-kun did it. He killed. The day of the Black Moon, the day your clan said the Biju would leave our world and the Renengan days would be counted," Kisame said, remembering what Itachi had told him the first time they met. "Remember, the Black Moon will rise, the 9 beasts will disappear, and the greatest of eyes will die at the hands of peace, leaving behind a legacy of creation and destruction." He didn't believe it because it was so random, but when he remembered what Itachi said a month after he joined Akatsuki, it all made sense. Change is coming. The Black Moon will mark the end of 12 years of pain. I can see it now, Kisame. Before then, we won't be able to reach our goal. I will test him, and he will pass. Kisame asked, "What kind of test do you want to give the boy?" "A test of faith," he replied. "Sister, I think we should rethink this plan," the girl in the robe said to the girl in the armor, who had stopped eating an apple and was looking at her. "Estelwyn," she said, "you are a rookie, a single mage apprentice among many in the large court of Wind, our liege battalion, and loyal servants of the Queen. You of all people should know what must be done. You, who are the best of the many apprentices, should know. But, Sister Siliverenial, that's exactly what we shouldn't do. The Rayearths will come to Crystalia when the Guardians think it's time, and we can't go against their orders." Estelwyn said with a worried look. "Sigh, you don't get it. Our world is slowly getting worse, and it will get worser if we don't do anything. Our people, our families, are also getting worse, and the longer we wait, the worse it gets for them. I won't let that happen. Have you forgotten the pain the army of the Dark Lord is causing on our land right now?" Siliverenial asked her sister with a stern look. "No, sister, I don't, and I also don't forget what my master taught me. He knows more than anyone else about the Dark Lord and his army, and he thinks that we can't force the Rayearths to come. Your master is a fool. He may have lived through the Great War, but he doesn't know anything." Estelwyn looked up at the sky and said, "My master is a good person, but I don't understand why we have to capture the Rayearth instead of trying to convince him to join us, why we have to drag him like an escaped animal to our queen's presence instead of letting him roam the lands and fight the evil that is choking our land right now. I also don't understand why our queen wants to bring the Rayearths to her instead of letting them do their jobs right away, but it's her will, and we have to follow it." Obeyed without question? Letting a town full of innocent, unarmed people die and sending inexperienced warriors into battle are both mistakes. So is this order. I worry about the safety of our brothers and sisters who are sent to other worlds after these mistakes and many others that need to be explained. Urania and Farron are enough to calm the Rayearth of fire, and Barathon and Minudin can handle the Rayearth of water. I don't worry about them because, like us, they will succeed, Siliverenial said with a serious look. She sends the captain and vice-captain of her own private battalion, Narian and Reyna, on a mysterious mission to another world, just hours after the glyph of Earth glowed brightly and resonated with the glyphs of fire, water, and wind, showing that there is a Rayearth on another world, Estelwyn said in a serious tone. I feel the same way. Both girls stopped in their tracks. Elves. Kakashi Hatake jumped in front of both of them, but he wasn't holding his usual Icha book. Who are you? Siliverenial asked. I'm Kakashi Hatake, the Junin sensei of Naruto Uzumaki, the boy you were trying to catch, Kakashi said seriously. Sister, Please be careful with this one, I feel a lot of mana on him, which is disturbing. Your worries are for nothing, I can deal with him alone. I am a member of the Court of Wind, an elite fighter of our kin. I will not fall against him, even if he is our liege master. You will not stand in my way, she said, taking a fighting stance. Kakashi narrowed his eyes at her and slowly pulled his kunai. Usually I would ignore the ramblings of a girl like you, he said.
That made Silveraniel growl.
But is it the son of my former sensei you plan to take? I am obligated to protect him, and yes, I was a little lazy with his training. But I will not let. This world is really cool. Okay, Hanabi-chan, the problem with you is that your mind is closed, Naruto said. They had left the Hyuga compound to train on the outskirts and hopefully set the girl straight. Is that you clinch to a memory too heavily, the image of your mother for example. Iruka-sensei taught us that in that jutsu having a clear image of what we want to transform is essential. The other part is the hand seals and chakra output, something you got already laid. What I want is to try and transform into me. If you can transform into me you can certain transform in everyone else, Naruto said with confidence, making the little Hyuga girl grin. Transform on him? When the Hyuga girl yelled, transform, she was covered in smoke, which slowly cleared away until she could show what she had become. She had turned into a mix of Naruto and Naruto. She had Naruto's orange clothes and Naruto's womanly traits, but she had the head and tail of a fox. Naruto and almost everyone else who saw her, both ninjas and regular people, couldn't help but laugh. Some muttered something about corrupting her, while others just raised an eyebrow. Naruto, on the other hand, looked pretty messed up based on the tick on his left eye. Baka. Bam. Poof. Itai. Why did you do that? Again, I don't look like a woman with a fox's head and tail. Hanabi soon learned that Naruto was not a kind, patient, or forgiving sensei. Every time she failed to change, the bump on her head got bigger, and so did her anger. It wasn't that Naruto was a bad teacher. He had taught her how to change. You need a clear image of what you want to become in the right hand seals and chakra to make it happen. With Shikamaru, she turned into a sloth, and with Ino and Shino, she turned into a blonde-haired pig and a giant tarantula, which was enough to scare Naruto, but she made it worse by giving it poisonous fangs. And almost an hour went by. During that hour, Naruto didn't make much progress, and Hanabi found out the hard way that Naruto would be a very strict Junin sensei, if he ever got to that rank. I don't get it, Naruto said as he looked at Hanabi, who was caring for the many bumps on her head. I've tried everything I know. Positive reassurance, he said. That didn't help, Hanabi said with disappointment. Using the prizes method. I really wanted one of those cinnamon buns. Smacking you upside the head. I think you've messed with my mind more than usual. I even tried to use my powers from Rayearth. I think we learned the hard way that thunder doesn't work to get people to do things. I think it's time we go tell your old man. Hanabi cut him off with, no. And Naruto stopped dead in his tracks. He then sighed and said, okay, then we'll try the other way. Naruto asked, what other way? Asking the experts. After half an hour. It took him a while, but he was able to find Iruka. However, the Chunin proved to be a very hard target. Every time Naruto and Hanabi were getting close, Iruka seemed to move faster and deeper into parts of Konoha that the kids didn't know. The chase had turned into a high-speed chase, and one of them seemed to be losing. He had to let Hanabi ride on his back so she could keep up, and his speed and Hanabi's Byakugan tracking skills helped them catch up to the Chunin. When Iruka finally stopped, Naruto and Hanabi were able to catch up to him, only to find that they had followed him to a place that not even Naruto was brave enough to go into. The parts of the Uchiha compound that have been left behind and destroyed. Naruto tensed up, pulled Hanabi closer to him on his back, and turned to look at Iruka, who was still standing in the middle of the destroyed houses in the still-standing street. Sad, isn't it? Iruka asked, still standing still and not making any sudden moves that showed he was trying to run away or attack. The once proud Uchiha compound was destroyed by one of its own. Naruto and Hanabi looked at each other and raised an eyebrow. "Who are you?" Naruto asked. "You hurt me, Naruto-kun." "We've met before," Iruka said, turning around and showing a pair of red eyes with three-bladed shuriken pupils. Naruto muttered, "Itachi." "Uchiha." Hanabi hid more on Naruto's back. After all, the name Itachi Uchiha has long been associated with death and betrayal. With a puff of smoke, Iruka changed into the form of the Akatsuki member, who still didn't move. However, Naruto knew that Itachi's eyes were more dangerous than his hands. Itachi said, "We meet again, Naruto-kun and Hanabi-chan." He then pointed out Hiyoshi's youngest child, who was hiding behind Naruto, and said, "Ni-san, I'm scared." Naruto said, "Don't worry, I'm here with you, and I don't think Itachi is here to fight." "Why did you bring us to a place where the Anbu is sweeping?" Itachi asked. "Not to fight, but to talk," Naruto replied. "As expected of you, Naruto-kun, you think outside the box." "Yes, this place is perfect for talking. Right now, Tsunade-sama must have Anbu and Junin searching the forests and training grounds for me and you. They wouldn't expect me to come back to a place that was once my home," Itachi said, looking around at the rubble that was once the walls, doors, and houses of the compound. Itachi said, "My foolish brother follows a path of self-destruction. He destroys not only himself but everything he touches in the process. If this keeps up, he will kill me, but in the process he will fall deeper into the darkness, losing himself to all. Losing all, allies, friends, his own life. Then the Uchiha bloodline will truly die." "You don't seem too worried about that," Naruto said. Itachi said, "Of course I'm not. I'm dying, after all." He began to cough without even covering his mouth, and Naruto and Hanabi soon saw why when Itachi Uchiha began to cough up blood. "I am in agony, Naruto-kun. Even if you were able to save me like Hashirama-sama wanted, I would still die from this disease that not even Tsunade-sama can cure. I am dying. A marked man who will either die by the steel of my brother or by this disease," Itachi said as he slowly wiped the blood from his mouth. "Then why? Why you still are with Akatsuki? What do they have that binds you there?" Naruto asked. For once, being around the strongest ninjas ever, traitors of course, but ninjas of cage level each, a dream made true to any ninja. Second is the chance to test you. I knew since the beginning that you would be specially Unikaya unstoppable, with or without Kyuubi, Itachi said, earning a demanding glare of Naruto. The third, of course, was to get my brother to come to me. By getting to you, I would get to him. I knew it, I saw it, the so-called dead last who nobody pays attention to would end up with the fangirl and the prodigy. It is a curse that Konoha Cell Team 7 has carried since the first team was formed with Hiruzen, Kaharu, and Haruma, then with Orochimaru, Tsunade, and Jiraiya. Each member of Team 7 was cursed with misfortunes that no one else had. Hiruzen-sama saw the two shinobi wars and his teammates become corrupted by power. Jiraiya-sama lost his friend. Orochimaru lost himself for his desire for power. Tsunade-sama lost herself to her grief. Minato-sama lost his two teammates and killed countless Iwa ninjas too. Do you think you have what it takes to end the curse of Team 7? Come on people, we have to find them. Jiraiya shouted as he, Asuma, Kurenai, Guy and a contingent of Hyuga and Anbu followed him in hopes of finding Naruto instead of Itachi. It was the second time the Uchiha broke in Konoha without raising any alarm. It didn't help to the fact he was a former Anbu captain who knew the defenses of Konoha head to toe, both strengths and weakness, and helped design several defenses in cases like enemy spies entering the village. Where the hell is Kakashi? Kurenai asked, looking at the Anbu, who shrugged their shoulders. We haven't seen Kakashi-sensei in a long time, and we're worried about him, an Anbu with a tiger mask said, looking at the Anbu with chicken, dog, cat, and turtle masks. Almost all Anbu wore animal-shaped masks in different colors, but there were two masks that were. The chicken-masked Anbu said, "Kakashi-senpai," and then suddenly dove down. This got the attention of the group, who saw why the chicken Anbu did it. Kakashi was fighting against a woman with pale skin, pointy ears, a sword and armor with a lot of decorations, and a very sharp blade. Jiraiya said, "Elves," as he followed the Anbu with the chicken mask, and the team followed him. In the land, Kakashi kept a narrowed gaze at the elf that lived to the myth of elves, true masters of the sword, and graceful movements with swift attacks. It was damn obvious her kenjutsu was above Junin level, above Hayate's skills, above Yugo's skill, above his father's skills. It was obvious Kakashi had pushed himself to keep up with her in combat. Substitutions and speed have been his saving grace, and hers had been the natural way she fights. But Kakashi wasn't a fool. He still had to use his Sharingan, and he didn't know what the other elf could do. From the amount of chakra he could feel on her, he knew it wouldn't be good. "I'm tired of this fight. Tell us where our king is, and you'll live to see another day," Silverenial said as she raised her sword to her neck. "Please, Master Kakashi, we don't mean any harm to our king Naruto." "His name is Naruto, right?" Kakashi nodded at Estelwin's question. "But you must understand, our land suffers, we were sent to retrieve him, please lead us to him, we need." She is a pacifist, but she is also a realist. Slowly, Kakashi lowered his kunai, keeping his one eye on Silverenial. "Thank you, Master Kakashi." "We will not betray your trust," Estelwin said, turning to Silverenial. "Lower your blade, sister. This fight is pointless." "Sister. Lower your sword now. I have offered him a boon and he has accepted it. I will not betray this boon because of your stubbornness, lower your blade. Now." The young elf monk said to her sister. "I will not lower my blade. If I have to spill the blood of the master of our liege to reach him, so be it. As long as I reach him and return him to our queen, I will not wait no longer. The boon you offered is..." Not even a second later, Silverenial turned around and screamed when the same orb of energy Naruto used against the four-tailed monster hit her in the stomach. She was then pushed toward a tree and knocked out, her armor showing a drill burn on her stomach. "Sorry, sister, but violence isn't always the solution." Naruto slowly took Hanabi off his back as he looked around at what was left of the Uchiha compound. "Okay, what are the chances of Itachi telling us he's dying?" he asked out loud. "None, since he's..." "Well, him," Hanabi said, tightening her grip on Naruto's hand, which Naruto noticed. "Don't worry, Hanabi-chan, I'll protect you," Naruto said, making the little Hyuga girl squeal and tighten her grip on Naruto's hand. She was starting to understand why her sister was so crazy about him, and it wasn't because he had so much power. It was something about him, she was sure. With a sigh, Naruto and Hanabi started walking down the only path that seemed to lead somewhere. As they moved forward, a bunch of rocks and trees fell behind them and blocked the path. "This is scary," Hanabi said, following Naruto all the way around. "Tell me about it," Naruto said as he and Hanabi walked along a path of rubble and destruction that seemed to go on forever. It would take them 3 minutes to get to an area with a river and a bridge that went over both sides of the river. There, Itachi was waiting for them. "This bridge holds many memories for me. I met my girlfriend here, I had my first kiss here, I cried for the first time after the third Shinobi Wars here. I killed my best friend here and threw his body into the water," Itachi said, making both kids' eyes widen. "The ninja knows neither good nor evil. Our path is stained with the blood of both guilty and innocent people. Our missions always go against normal Moralsa assassinations, executions, terror attacks in wars, and the complete destruction of families, all in order to complete our mission. We are assassins, our feelings come second after a mission. That's why neither you nor my brother will be true ninjas." Itachi said this to irritate Naruto. Hanabi said, "He is wrong." Naruto replied, "I don't follow that ninja way. I follow my own ninja way." "Your own?" Hanabi asked. Yes. One without regrets, without pain, without the constant knowledge that we are tools. One day I will change that old ninja way, with one all will appreciate, one where all are free to choose what path to follow, not being forced to. That's why Itachi is the way he is. Someone made him that way. I will change that, Naruto said as he crossed the bridge with the shocked Hanabi, who slowly began to understand him, why he never broke his word, why. As they crossed the bridge, it collapsed under its own weight, cutting off their old path, but this time they didn't care. Instead, they kept walking, getting closer to where Itachi wanted them to go. 2 minutes later, they came to a wooden pier with clear water below it. It was a pretty sight, and Itachi was back at the end of the pier. On this pier, Sasuke became a man, Itachi told Naruto and Hanabi. In the eyes of the clan, you become a man when you can blow a fireball. It took Sasuke a while, but he did it in front of my father. As a man to another man, my father told him not to follow my path. It was the only good advice he ever gave to Sasuke. What makes a man? What makes us different from children? Is it that we have more responsibilities? Is it that circumstances force us to become men, even before we reach true adulthood? Or is it just a way to say that we are better than children? Itachi said, the eyes and mind of a child are different from that of a man. They think and see the world in a different way. Just like you, Naruto-kun, even though you were forced to carry a. Only through the eyes and mind of a child will you be able to defeat Madara. He who controlled Kyuubi. He who stood toe-to-toe with the Yondaime itself. He who helped me kill the Uchiha clan. Itachi then disappeared again, leaving behind 2 children who kept quiet as they walked away, hearing the pier collapse into the water. After a long walk, they finally got to a house that was mostly still standing. Itachi's voice rang out, my home. Naruto and Hanabi walked in, kicking up dust as they went. Most of the doors were closed, except for one, which they went through. Itachi pointed to a dried spot of blood on the wooden floor and said, welcome to the Uchiha dojo. This is where I killed my parents. Both kids saw the spot, which made Hanabi even more afraid. Contrary to what Sasuke thought, I killed them quickly. My father was the only Uchiha who saw me before he died. I killed every Uchiha quickly and painlessly. But I'm sorry I killed my mother. She worked so hard to get her dad to stop the coup. But a kiss from him was all she needed to know that the clan was doing the right thing. I killed her because of that. If I had let her live, she would have planted that seed in Sasuke earlier. Instead of wanting me dead, Sasuke would have wanted Konoha to be in charge. That was her sin. Her punishment was death, Itachi said as he looked at both kids. Now do you get it, Naruto-kun? There is no hope, no way out, and once you start down a path, you can't go back. Itachi looked at both kids with his Mangekyo gaze and said, yet you try to get my brother and me off that path. Why? Why bother? Itachi said, when our souls are so full of darkness, we deserve nothing but death. Maybe because Sasuke is like my brother to me. Hanabi looked shocked when Naruto said, he was. He was the closest thing I had to a brother, and in some ways, he was like me. He was lied to, but unlike me, he never clung to anyone or put his trust in anyone. He lost everything, so I felt like. We both shared something. We worked hard at something. Me for being liked and him for. I didn't understand why he worked so hard until I almost saw him die. He worked hard to kill the monster that haunted his dreams and destroyed his life, Naruto said firmly. Which is me. Which brings me to this point, and my question. Do you really think you can stop my brother from going down the wrong path? Itachi looked Naruto right in the eyes and said, I don't think it. Naruto muttered slowly, which made Itachi narrow his eyes a little. I know that I can. Then Naruto snapped and looked Itachi straight in the eyes. His eyes suddenly got slits in them. His eyes, I see. So that's what his mother meant when she said that a Rayearth could stop an army with a look. Itachi thought as his hands started to shake under his Akatsuki robes, just a look at those eyes is enough to stun a whole army of samurai. To me, who saw the horrors of the war and even felt Kyuubi's killer intent. To me, who has seen and felt it all. I shouldn't run, but it looks like he's trying to read my mind when he looks at me. You are the first to. Itachi slowly raised his hand, and both kids could see that his hand was shaking. That actually makes me shake, he said. When I saw the wraiths and, of course, when I saw Kyuubi, I shook like a leaf. When I met Madara, they all had to lose some power for this to happen to me, Itachi said, making Naruto blink. Itachi said, "You're the first person I've ever been afraid of." At that moment, a huge group of crows flew into the dojo. But Madara isn't a man? Is he a monster that can't die? Naruto asked. Itachi's angry voice could be heard all over the dojo. Even Naruto jumped when he heard the tone, and Hanabi shook with fear. Not even her father could make someone act like that. One of the crows suddenly dove at Naruto. He was so surprised that he opened his mouth, which was a big mistake because the crow was aiming for his mouth and forced its way in. The bird was bigger than his mouth and throat, so it made Naruto choke. Naruto fell on his bottom and gasped in shock and pain. He looked around and was surprised to see Hanabi, who had seen the whole thing up close and personal. You're rude. What's the point? Naruto snapped and slowly got to his feet. I've given you some of my power, Naruto-kun. You have faith in the goodness of other people, faith in a good future, and faith that everything will work out. I've decided to take the first step toward making that future happen, but only if things move forward. When the time is right, my power will show up on its own and help you defeat my brother and kill Madara. Itachi's voice came back, but... You said Madara can't die, didn't you? Such doubt from someone who could destroy energy. I'm sure you'll figure out how to kill Madara. Our time is running out, and the next time we'll see each other will be on the battlefield. I'm sure this is the last time we'll see each other. Until then, grow, train, and do your best. I want to see how powerful I am with the Rayearth of Wind. I think it would be a good way to see if a ninja can really stand up to a myth. So long, Naruto-kun. Until we meet again. Itachi's voice started to fade away, and Hanabi and Naruto were surprised to see that they were in a damaged house and dojo without a ceiling. Genjutsu. Man, Naruto said as he stood up and looked at Hanabi. Let me guess. Too much to do in one day? Hanabi nodded silently and said, I'm beginning to think this will happen a lot over the next few months. Come on, no more training. As he led Hanabi out of the ruins of the Uchiha compound, Naruto told her that the words Itachi had spoken would one day become a tradition in the Hyuga clan that would prevent the same thing that happened to the Uchiha clan from happening to the Hyuga clan. She, Naruto, Hinata, Neji, the other clan members, their children, and their children's children would all carry on this tradition. The Walk of Faith would become something all Highwand rub it on the face of her sister. At night, Hiyashi paced in front of the Hyuga clan entrance, stopping every minute to see if Hanabi or Naruto came and every second to huff in frustration. Some Hyuga guards were betting that Hiyashi would dig a ditch with all his pacing. Jiraiya and Kakashi also waited patiently near the entrance. This was because it was clear that Itachi left the village without Naruto or Hanabi, and no one had seen Kisame. This kept many people on edge, because Kisame was from a community that hated bloodline users, so it was kind of funny to see him with Itachi, who was a bloodline user. Hey, said the three adults when they heard Naruto kick open the entrance to the compound with Hanabi in tow, eating an ice cream. In an instant, Hiyashi was there, holding Naruto up by the neck of his shirt. Do you know what you did to Konoha and how dangerous you made things for my daughter? Hiyashi snapped angrily, eh? Yeah, to which Naruto replied. In less than a second, he was flying towards Kakashi and Jiraiya, who seemed amused to see a powerful Rayearth being thrown away by a worried father. Naruto landed rather awkwardly, and the two ninjas who were looking at him seriously said, "Eh? Got lost on the road of life?" Naruto said this, trying to find a reason to bring Hanabi at such an early hour. "That's a good reason only for me, Naruto. Don't even try." Kakashi said something and pointed to the compound, telling Naruto to go in. Naruto went in, but he knew he might find something worse inside. The word, Naruto. He did, and it looked like the fists of Sakura and Hinata. After 5 minutes of beating. Uzumaki Naruto. You should die for getting away from me. Hinata snapped as she held Naruto's head in her lap, but I won't, and do you know why? Because you love me and can't live without me? She asked. Hinata said, that and the fact that I can't bring myself to hurt you. Naruto asked, why do you think that is? My bruises hate to disagree, he said, only to wince when Hinata put her chakra-covered hands on the sides of his head. Looking around, he saw Tsunade looking rather smug at Naruto, and he reminded himself to torture her with a trick that drowns her in paperwork. That's why we're getting married next week, no problems. Hinata said something out of the blue that stopped everyone in the room in their tracks, even her father. Jiraiya was laughing and giving his apprentice a thumbs up, and Kakashi? He gave a nod of approval, not because Naruto was about to get married when he was only 12, but because Naruto was getting married and he deserved to be happy. He had worked hard, after all. Naruto slowly got up and looked around the room. Hanabi also looked shocked, but then he saw someone. Hey, Ero Sennin, who's the lady with the pointy ears? Jiraiya and Kakashi tensed up as the woman walked toward Naruto and knelt in front of him, saying, my lord. I finally found you, she told him. Was Naruto's only answer that made sense. Oh, I'm sorry, my lord. My name is Estelwyn Damag. I'm the daughter of Herwunyan Damag. I'm an apprentice mage under the guidance of High Mage and Elder Hebian. I'm the only elf who has lived long enough to have seen the Great War, and I'm a member of the Court of Wind, your battalion, Estelwyn said as she bowed her head. I am yours and will do what you want, my master. She said, your will is what drives me, and your orders are what tell me what to do. My sword is yours, and I am yours, body and soul. The Court of Wind swore allegiance to Rayearth, Jiraiya said, it sounds more like a love letter to me. Kakashi muttered, but when Kei's no Yaiba was shot at him, he had to duck. Stop talking, Kakashi-sensei. So. Did he make it? Kisame muttered to Itachi, who was taking a pill. He did. With flying colors, Itachi said as he walked away from the forests of Konoha, a place he knew well, a place he could call home, and a place where he wanted to be buried. That last part would be impossible, since his body held many secrets of both Konoha and Akatsuki, but he can dream. I see so, what will we tell Leader Sama? Again, Kisame asked. Itachi turned off his Sharingan and looked at the moon. He said, we'll tell him to get ready for the fight of his life. Crystalia will lose the false god. By the child of revolution. It will be a battle we can't miss, Itachi said as he continued walking toward a Megacure. Neither of them knew what the future held for them. They knew for sure that death was the end of the road, but they didn't know much else. The only thing they knew for sure was that they would meet Naruto again, this time in battle, and that he wouldn't be alone. Sasuke slashed another guard, and like the others, this one fell in a bloody heap. Next to him was a pale boy with a brush for a ninjutsu strapped to his back and several scrolls tied to his belt. The boy had a creepy fake smile that Sasuke found annoying. At least with the dope smile, he knew it was real, but with this one, he wasn't sure. Sai was creepy and sickening, especially his smile. With a grunt, Sasuke wiped the blood off his sword and put it back in its scabbard. He looked around and saw where he had come from. He walked toward a jail cell and lightly tapped the metal bars to get the attention of a man huddled on the bed. Hey, you're Jugo, right? He asked, but the man didn't answer. There is a world out there, he said. Jugo shook his head slightly and said, I can handle your anger. You can see the world beyond this box. As long as you help me, Jugo said slowly. Sasuke could finally see that Jugo was a freaking giant with orange hair. Sitting on the bed, Jugo looked at Sasuke straight in the eyes, his orange eyes meeting Sasuke's onyx eyes. I am listening, Jugo said. Sasuke smiled. If he couldn't get the dope as an ally, he would get his own allies. At Orochimaru's expense, of course, Naruto dragged himself to bed because his day had been so stressful. He had met Itachi again and heard his side of the story and motives. Then he met Estelwyn, an elf girl, and swore loyalty to Itachi. Not to mention that Sakura and Hinata had attacked him, and Hinata had set their wedding for next week. Now that she's listening to my advice, that's great, he muttered as he went into his room and fell asleep right away, not noticing that Hinata was already on bed, waiting for him. It was tradition that a week before marriage, the bride-to-be would share bed with her soon-to-be husband, but no one told Naruto that. On the bed, Hinata, still dressed as Naruto on their usual clothes, sighed as she saw Naruto collapse on the bed, snoring slightly, with a small grin. The Hyuga heiress snuggled on Naruto, who somewhat hugged her, with a happy smile. Hinata sank on the same sleep as Naruto, but not even close as dreaming the things Naruto was dreaming, if you could call what he was passing now as dreams. Yo. Hey Naruto, wake up. Naruto heard, but he didn't even bother to open his eyes. Instead, he turned around and said, Oh goddammit, Obito-kun, help me. Alright, Oba-san. Wham. Naruto yelled, Ag, Uteme. When he was rudely woken up by a kick in the ribs. When he stood up, he saw something that almost scared him to death. He was on Konoha, or somewhere in Konoha, or something that looked like Konoha. The sky was a normal blue, the clouds were ivory, and the sun was a crazy mix of colors. Naruto muttered, Okay, I really need to stop eating ramen at night. Looking around, he saw that a lot of people were looking at him strangely, some of them in mild panic, others rather surprised, but what caught Naruto's attention were the two people who had woken him up. The first was a woman in her 30s with a black sundress that reached her knees, a white apron, long black hair, and Oni. The fan of Uchiha. With a sneer, Naruto assumed a combat stance in front of both Uchihas, who looked rather shocked at Naruto. Please Naruto-kun, we are not here to fight, the Uchiha woman said, like I care, you Uchiha are all the same, no wonder Sasuke Teme is the way he is, Naruto said, glaring at the approaching woman who looked rather stoic, and full of herself, like all Uchiha. Wham. Ouch. That's my son, shut up. The woman hit Naruto on the head, and he had to kneel down and rub his head because it hurt. Naruto looked at the woman and asked, Did you just say son? The woman gave him a sweet smile and said, Yes, I am Makoto Uchiha, the mother of Sasuke and Itachi Uchiha. Do you have a problem with that? Well, yeah. You should be alive, not dead, because you got all mushy with your husband, Naruto said, just to get another bump on the head from Makoto. I know that already, boy, and it's not like I don't regret it. I lost my son's growth. I failed as a mother, Makoto said, making Naruto look down at the ground in shame. Smooth Naruto, you made a dead woman feel bad. Naruto asked Makoto, aren't you dead? Makoto yelled, but you're dead and I'm alive, and here. Isn't possible. Naruto replied, it is. For the Rayearth of Wind. Makoto suddenly looked at Naruto in the eyes and said, you have the unique ability to speak with the dead in your dreams. This made Naruto blink. Oh, what? Damn, pipe down already man, I thought Minato-sensei was joking when he told me how loud you were, even louder as me. Guess I was wrong, the goggles-wearing Uchiha said, earning a stare of Naruto. Minato, my old man, I'm going to need a lot of getting used to the fact the Yondaime is my dad. Naruto muttered, of course, name's Obito Uchiha by the way, Obito said with a grin. Makoto said with a teasing smile, the most unique Uchiha you can find here in the afterlife. This made Obito frown and Naruto blink again. Afterlife? Yes. Welcome to the afterlife of the elemental nations, Makoto said with a smile. All the diseased of the elemental nations come here, from the average villager to the proud ninja to the royal daimyo, as long as you didn't do something bad enough to deserve punishment. All the dead people? Naruto asked, making both Uchiha nod. My God, all the death. Here? Oh great, just what I needed, people who died for the rule here, I can't even find peace in the freaking afterlife, Naruto exclaimed. Is not that bad, Naruto-chan? Naruto ears perked up. Looking behind him he saw someone he thought he would never see. You get to see me and your dad, Kushina exclaimed with a smile, only to be tackled by Naruto, who hugged her mightily, like fearing she might go away, like in all his dreams. I'm not going anywhere, Naruto-chan, not this time and never again, she whispered as she hugged her son and rubbed his back to try to calm him down. You were right, Sensei, he's too emotional, Obito said, looking at the man by his side. What can I say? He gets it from his mom, Minato said before looking at Makoto. Your sons are in great problems, Makoto-chan. Gather all and get them to the compound. Tell them Madara Uchiha lives. Tell them Itachi has the Mangekyo Sharingan. Tell them Sasuke now controls the Shukaku and extracted Kyuubi of Naruto. Get also Hashirama-sama, Tobirama-sama and Hiruzen-sama. We need to inform Naruto of what Madara is truly capable of, Minato said. With a nod Makoto and Obito walked away. Minato moved slowly toward his wife and son. As he got closer, he cleared his throat, which made Naruto turn and look at him. Hey, son, not even a hug? I'm hurt, Minato joked. In less than a second, Naruto grabbed his torso and hugged him as hard as he did Kushina. Yes, son, I'm here, and no, it's not a dream. Think of it as your Rayearth skills coming to life at last. Naruto looked up at his father with blue eyes and a dead serious face. I wish you had come when there wasn't a threat on our heads, of all living and dead people. Come, we have a lot to talk about. You need to know who your enemy is. With that, Minato, his wife, and son. I'm rather disappointed, Orochimaru said. He had never had so many failures in such a short amount of time. Whatever had happened to him and his guards during the invasion of Konoha was gone, but the damage was done. Otto was much weaker in terms of manpower, he only had scientists and some guards in his prisons and labs. His forces were much weaker, and so was his reputation. I understand, Orochimaru-sama, but we can't waste resources hunting the Uchiha, Kabuto said, trying to talk some sense into his master head. We lost a lot of ninjas and possible test subjects during the invasion. The Konoha Hunter Corps is actively hunting us, so Kumo and Sunsuna, Akatsuki is on the move, and we're not on their level, he said. And you think I care? All those lives are going to waste, and all I care about is getting the Uchiha, destroying Konoha, and hopefully killing Naruto. Kabuto clearly understood the last one. After all, Naruto had become a bigger problem for their plans. As a Rayearth, not even the three Sannin and Hanzo the Salamander have a chance of beating him. The four-tailed Pseudo Biju failed miserably, and he has little doubt that all of Otto's forces would do something to stop him. He is too strong to be ignored or left unchecked. I understand Orochimaru-sama, but now Naruto-kun is out of our reach, even mine. All we can do is wait and recover patiently, Kabuto said. He later regretted it when a huge amount of killing intent washed over him. Think again, Kabuto-kun. I won't let you tell me what to do. I want the Uchiha, and I want him now. Orochimaru yelled. My body is slowly breaking down, and you of all people should know that. I want Sasuke's body, because his Sharingan is much better for what I want to do. Then maybe we can help each other. A new voice was heard in the room where Orochimaru lived. He looked into the shadows and didn't see anyone, but he could feel the presence of a bad person or thing in the room. And you are? Orochimaru asked. Oh, I'm sorry for my bad manners, but when I heard that we have the same goal and the same enemy, I couldn't help but get excited, the voice said, making Orochimaru smirk. My name is Demoness, and I serve a greater one who wants to destroy our common enemy, the Rayearths, Demoness said, spitting out the name like poison. Yes, Orochimaru said with a smirk. Of course, my master also wants Sasuke, or better yet, the sword he carries. Orochimaru smirked again and said, then let's make a deal, partner. Demoness laughed right after Orochimaru, but his laugh turned into a full-blown maniacal laugh. When they all laughed together, Kabuto couldn't help but shiver. He thought Orochimaru had made a deal with the devil himself. Naruto couldn't help but smile. It had taken him 12 years, a fight to the death with a four-tailed monster, being stabbed by his best friend, discovering his newfound powers, and getting engaged to Hinata, but he finally got to know his parents. Sure, they were dead, but that didn't mean he was just going to be sad about it. He had the ability to contact the dead, both physically and mentally, and enter their realm. No other ninja. He was holding their hands and feeling their warm touch and love as they walked toward wherever they wanted to go. He let them lead him, anywhere, to learn about the elemental nation's afterlife. The place was huge and full of ninjas and civilians from all over the nations, maybe even from all times. Naruto had to stop himself from jumping for joy because it was every ninja's dream, besides being at the shinobi school. Here we are, son, Minato said suddenly, stopping Naruto's thoughts. Naruto's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets when he saw where they were, a huge compound, easily 10 times bigger than the Hyuga compound, with huge walls and a wooden entrance with a name on top that Naruto found interesting. The Konoha Shinobi Compound. Eh? Naruto asked. Son, as you know, this is where many souls go after their bodies die. It's a place of eternal rest. If they want to, anyone here can go back and reincarnate, but they have to wait a while. Well, shinobi souls live in a different place than civilian souls. This is where all Konoha ninja souls live. We can also train there, since ninja souls have the strange ability to keep using justice. Since we can't die, we can push ourselves to the limit, which is cool, Minato said. As soon as Naruto stepped into the compound, he saw many ninjas of all ages and sizes fighting and training. He saw men and women using jutsus to make water dragons fly, fireballs run wild, wind blades shred, and the earth shake. He also saw men and women using weapons instead of jutsus, like swords with saw-like edges, curved kunai, saw-shaped shuriken, wooden mallets with diamond-shaped spikes on. As soon as he took his first step forward, almost all fighting stopped. 2 fighting genin were the only ones who didn't stop until an Anbu-armored ninja hit them in the head. After that, everyone's eyes were only on Naruto. Naruto asked Minato and Kushina, "Hey, please tell me no one here hates me because of Kyuubi." Minato pulled out a 3-pronged kunai, and Kushina picked up a single ninjutsu from near the door. Forgot to tell you son, rules of the Konoha Shinobi compound, first time in, you get to fight. To punctuate that, Minato kicked Naruto on the stomach, lifting the Rayearth Knight towards the air. Naruto was so shocked by that, he never noticed that he was now floating in midair, or better said imprisoned in midair, courtesy of the Shodam Hokage wood jutsu. When he saw this, he got a look in his eyes that only one of the other ninjas knew well. Trying to get the upper hand, huh, old man? He asked. Minato just grunted, well, then. Boom. The gathered ninjas tensed up when they saw Naruto use a telekinetic concussion wave to blast his prison away. He landed softly, but only to reach for the kanji on his glove and call forth K's no Yaiba. Many of the ninjas actually tensed up at the sheer size of the blade, with some wondering how a child could lift such a blade. Alright, people. Naruto shouted. Who feels lucky? All of the ninjas charged at once. Hinata slowly opened her eyes and let out a sigh of satisfaction and disgust at the sight of her Naruto. He was hers, not Sakura's, Ino's, or Tenten's. He was hers and hers alone. No one else had any rights to him. She owned him in ways that only she could dream of. In a week, she would finally marry the man she had loved all her life, the one who had made her stronger, helped her keep going, made her want to live, and... Ouch. Just had slammed his elbow on her stomach, knocking the air out of her lungs. When Hinata looked again, she saw Naruto lying on his back with his left arm or elbow hitting her stomach. With a small laugh, and knowing that Naruto was someone who was to move on his bed, haunted by his childhood nightmares, she decided she would just have to deal with it. After all, as Naruto's wife, she would see more good and bad sides of his life, and that's what she wants. Having a perfect boyfriend or husband tends to be boring. Hinata screamed when Naruto suddenly hugged her, her old habit of blushing coming back in full force, only to realize he was hugging her too hard, more like squeezing her like a python. Slowly working her way out of Naruto's deadly hug, Hinata suddenly blushed more when Naruto somewhat sat on his sleep, dragging her along the way. Hinata's eyes got big when Naruto, who was sleeping, snuggled up to her chest and rubbed his face on her jacket-covered chest. What was left of the shy Hinata came back in full force, a blush that rivaled the one she used to have, and Kyuubi's fur covered her cheeks, and as usual, she couldn't do anything but look and enjoy. Hinata looked sad as she saw Naruto, who was still sleeping, lift his face off her chest. "Oh my god!" She yelled, but she yelled even louder when he started to bite her neck, not just one spot but her whole neck, attacking her sensitive spots without mercy. For her, it was heaven, the start of her most unladylike fantasies, the end of all the time she had spent worshipping her love, the reward for her devotion to Naruto-kun. Hinata suddenly opened her eyes and saw Naruto snoring in the crook of her neck. With a sigh of disappointment, she began to stroke his head. She had expected more kissing and touching from him, but Naruto is a prude, even though he invented the sexy jutsu and has two famous perverts as senseis. Many people expected him to turn into a mini Jiraiya or a mini Kaka. Kushina coughed as she moved Hashirama pieces of his armor of her. Sitting up, she slowly winced as she dusted herself. Her family, the Uzumaki, were known for being powerhouses on individual ninja matches, explosive experts on missions and demolition, and party animals when they are drunk. She is a living proof on both life and death of that, and yes, liquor do exists in the afterlife. If they have homes, it also obvious they also have other things. Minato-kun? Kushina asked. Yes, darling, Minato said, slowly pulling himself off a wall where his son telekinesis had thrown him head-on. He was glad he was already dead because that kind of impact would have cracked his skull, broken his spine, and spread his thoughts all over the field if he had been alive. I think. The myth of the Rayearths being stronger than Biju wasn't a myth at all, Minato said, cracking some bones in his neck and letting out a satisfied sigh. And how did you come to that conclusion, sensei? Obito asked, pulling himself out from under a man who looked like he had the same hair color as Kakashi. Was it when he destroyed the training grounds? When he pushed a rank just? I think. It was when he gave you the 1,000 years of pain, Hiruzen said as he dusted off his clothes. Of all the gifts, only he knew what Naruto was really capable of, so he kept his distance, but it didn't help. Thanks for reminding me, old man. By the way, where is Naruto? Obito asked. I think I saw him under a pile of ninjas trying to hold him, Makoto whispered as she helped Obito stand up and a patch of yellow popped out of a mountain of unconscious people. Someone take all these people away from me. Naruto yelled. Yep, there he is, Minato said with a small smile. His son was really his legacy, and he was someone who made himself known on the battlefield whether people liked it or not. Kushina yelled, Naruto-kun, and ran to where her son was surrounded by grown-ups. It was a funny and strange sight. The son of the Yondaime Hokage, her son, the last Uzumaki on the land of the living, the former Kyuubi Jinchuriki, a ninja, the Rayearth of Wind, surrounded by grown-ups trying to stop him. In the end, they didn't have much of. With a single yank, Kushina pulled the rather embarrassed Naruto. I was dog-piled by the great-grandmothers of Ino, Shikamaru, Choji and Kiba. I find myself rather humiliated, Naruto said with a pout, not to mention Hitomi-chan knows you are going to marry Hinata-sama, a new voice called. Looking around, Naruto spotted a man that was the living image of Hiyashi, but with a headband around his forehead, and with a smile to boot. What are you? Hizashi Hyuga, Neji's parent. I heard from Hayate that you straightened my son, thanks, the newly introduced Hizashi said, making Naruto blush. Wait a minute. If Neji's old man is here, and I assume so is Neji's mom, then it means that. Naruto blushed at the implications. It was hard enough to accept that he was surrounded by the best Konoha had to offer. But what scared him so much was that, at last, my son-in-law is here. Is that the woman Hazashi talked about, Hitomi, was Hinata's mother and Naruto's soon-to-die mother-in-law? It was no surprise that Naruto was shocked. He looked shocked and ready to run, as shown by his wide eyes and the fact that he was trying to get away from Hitomi Hyuga Glomp. Finally, after 9 years, I have good news. My little Hinata-chan is getting married. And to Minato-kun and Kushina-chan, little imp. I'm so happy. Hitomi exclaimed, hugging Naruto as if there was no tomorrow. I'm expecting a lot of grandchildren. I don't want just one, I want 8. 8. My son isn't a machine woman. Minato shouted, but no one heard him. I expect my husband didn't marry, or he let himself be bullied by the elders and the others, or I swear he's going to get it bad. Hitomi shouted as she finally let go of Naruto's bones-crushing hug. No, he hasn't gotten married. Now stop hugging me, I'm not a teddy bear. I have bones, and I think you broke them. Naruto almost screamed at the former Hyuga matriarch, but she just blinked and hugged Naruto again. Hitomi said, dragging Naruto around like a ragdoll, and so cute and lively. My daughter made a good choice. Now all I have to do is wait for my little Hanabi-chan to find a man, and I can happily wait for my husband to die of a stroke so I can have my way with him here in the afterlife, she said, making most of the ninjas in the room sweat. I'm starting to wonder. I think she's Anko's mother. No one else brags as much about getting laid with their man as Anko does, Hiruzen said to Minato. Maybe. But how do you explain Anko's strange eye colors? Hitomi yelled, I heard that, both of you. They both stopped talking because they knew Hitomi was fast friends with their wives and could pretty much make their afterlives hell if she asked. Alright, that's enough. Naruto snapped as he finally pulled away from Hitomi. If you didn't bring me here to get my behind kicked by every shinobi Konoha has ever seen, then I'm leaving. Naruto huffed as he turned away. We did, son. It's about what Itachi told you and what Kyuubi told you, Minato said. Remember, I was there when Kyuubi said why he attacked Konoha. Sarutobi just told us that Itachi had shown a little more interest in you, even before you became a full-fledged Rayearth. I thought he was relating you to a dream he had. Minato continued, your shocked look just confirmed it all. It. The other. I keep hearing that I'm not the only Rayearth. That there's one for each element. And I think the queen is a Rayearth. One of Earth, one who doesn't fight, Naruto mumbled. True. The queen, the Rayearth of Earth doesn't fight, because her job is to guide, control, sustain, and keep things in balance. She has taken arms a few times, but I trust and believe this queen will be different. Why is that? Naruto asked. Simple, as far as I know, no Rayearth had special skills besides their Rayearth skills. They were all normal people who had been chosen since birth, several Rayearths of each element per generation. But what I think could also be my fear is that you might be the only Rayearth of Wind chosen this generation, the first Rayearth to be chosen with skills that are not related to your Rayearth powers, and therefore unique. Is not that Naruto-kun?
Rayearth knights are mortals, as you and any of the present once were. The fact there were so many Rayearths selected of just one element was to back up losses, wars, assassinations, insurrections, name it. Rayearth knights have been present on 3 of the biggest events of Crystalia, and subsequently died, either on the field battling armies, or defending the queen. Each knight was replaced by someone else on the line. But you, Hitomi began, you as we fear, you are the only Rayearth of Wind selected to carry the fight. We don't know why you of so many people was chosen. We don't really know, but because of your singularity, finding a replacement for you would be the hardest thing. Normal people are abundant, but people like you, people like us, those a species on extinction, that's why we wanted to talk with you, to prepare you, Hitomi stated firmly. Long gone was that joyful and loud look she had, replaced more by a grave, serious and firm look only a Hyuga would upheld.
Naruto, son, you don't realize it, but you have more enemies than you can count. On one side, you have Orochimaru. You stopped him from doing something he wanted to do, and now he sees you as a threat, not only because of your power, but also because you represent everything he hates about Konoha. On the other side, you have Akatsuki. Sarutobi already told us what they want, and he thinks you are still. And then there's Sasuke. He has Root, a sword that can take the power of a Biju from a Jinchuriki without killing the jailer, and use that power to make a fake Biju. After all of them, you've got the enemies of Rayearth, the Wraiths, for starters. You can deal with them better now that you've had the formal combat training that other Rayearths didn't. But to learn about him, you must first learn the history of Konoha, and by extension, the history of the birth of the ninja village institutions as a whole. Since the clans that now make up the ninja villages were once enemies, you must first learn the history of the first shinobi wars so you can understand your enemy, Hashirama said, looking Naruto straight in the eyes. Those times were bloody to say the least. The land was torn between battles. Shinobi existed, of course. And all thanks to the Sage of the Six Paths. The bearer of the Rinnegan and the first-person no to use chakra and creator of jutsus. But that gift was misused. In years shinobi existed. But many were corrupted. The war began. With many clans on the lead of such wars. In the following years that was known as the First Shinobi Wars. Or the Secret Wars. The first conflict that was fought for territorial gain.
My clan, the Senju clan, and the Uchiha clan, soon became the clans to look for in terms of hiring for some people to gain power. You wanted someone assassinated, hire an Uchiha ninja. You want protection of being assassinated by Uchiha, then hire a Senju ninja. It became standard. If someone hired one of our clan members for something, then the opposing force would hire an Uchiha. Soon it was obvious we were on even terms. We lost so many people, and so did the Uchiha. True, they had the Sharingan, but unlike them, we mastered nearly all arts of the ninja life: seduction, poisoning, assassination, guerrilla tactics, one-to-one combat, ninjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu, kenjutsu, fuinjutsu, name it and we knew it and mastered it. Without bloodlines, my brother and me were the obvious exceptions, yet we were exceptional ninjas as anyone you could find of that time in the afterlife. Hashirama began, slightly overwhelming Naruto by such information.
We never learned that at the academy, Naruto said. I guess. Some people in high places in Konoha didn't want you kids to know the whole story of the birth of Konoha, or the fact that Konoha is the first ninja village ever born, the one who set the example, and by default the reason all villages exist. In fact, you can thank me for that. I'm the reason the ninja villages exist, so show some respect, Hashirama. He is right, he gave you a pink mustache and Tobirama's hair was pink. With a red nose. Sarutobi said, okay, besides the fact that you don't respect historic monuments, let's move on. To be honest, I was tired of the constant bloodshed. I lost too many friends and loved ones on those days. The clans were getting smaller, with the exception of the Hyuga. They kind of overcharged for their services. Anyway, No, really, it hit me. My wife wasn't happy with the wounds I had and the fact that I seemed to be staring at another girl's butt, so she hit me with a rolling pin, and while I was going to sleep, an idea came to me. What if all those clans, all that untapped potential, were gathered in one place, a village of ninjas, where everyone lived in peace and worked together for a common goal, a village where they... What's funny about the story of how Konoha came to be? No, snort, is just that. Kami, I can't believe Konoha came from your wife almost hitting your head off with a rolling pin. Naruto laughed, something caught in his throat, and laughed as well. Someone once said that the best ideas come from the most unexpected places. Water justice were used to wash clothes before someone had the bright idea to kill its ugly and unpleasant stepmother with a water-made dragon. Of course not, Naruto said with a sigh of relief. The Rasengan was invented as a better way to mix the ingredients for ramen, and I invented the Thunder God long before I met Kushina and her temper, Minato said, only to clutch his head as Kushina slammed her fist into his head. The idea was good, but it was hard to get people to agree. The Hyuga were easy to persuade, even though they were losing people and land every day. A safe place to settle, grow, and raise new generations was too good to pass up, and they wouldn't have to worry as much about losing the Byakugan, one of the 3 great Dujutsu. Other clans, like the Inuzuka, Nara, Aburame, and Aka, were also easy. He was fond to the idea. And so his clan. So with anything else to say, the hostilities between both clans ended. But the war was far from over. The next step was rounding up the survivors of many villages ravaged by the war. All of them needed a home of protection.
We could offer them both. We settle on what is now Konoha, a spot surrounded by trees, natural defenses, a mountain to use as shelter. Not only that, a river passed trough that spot, so water was not an issue. With some problems, more concerning some ninjas not wanting to start construction, Konoha began to be arisen. First as a town, placing small walls around the town to defend ourselves of bandits. Ninjas who were hired to attack us soon found out how hard it was, and many of those ninjas inside our own walls found how effective union with other ninjas was. The Ino Shikacho team was born of that realization. The Hyuga soon began to act more openly with the villagers, when they once considered them lower than trash. Above all, it looked good. Many attacked, but all failed. The combined might of all the gathered clans with us was too much, and no one thought of joining forces to level the odds. Hashirama laughed at that fact, and so many ninjas around him.
Then came a topic that was kind of hard to deal with. Who would lead all those ninjas? Without a unified leadership that was above the leaders of the clans, the work would go down the drain. Not many people wanted the job, mostly because they had their own problems to deal with, like clan politics and such. Also, many people thought that the leader of so many ninjas had to be strong, or badass, someone who wouldn't take crap from anyone. Angry by not gaining the position of the first Fire Shadow, Madara left, declaring war to Konoha, and all in it. But I think his motives were different. I knew I couldn't let him live. My duty as a Hokage didn't let me. So I took measures. On that, I chased Madara, and we fought. I actually didn't count he would use Kyuubi for the fight, yet I won. And I put a sword between his chest. I killed him. Or so I thought until I died, Hashirama said. Kyuubi came to me. He told me Madara had orchestrated a second attempt against Konoha. This time using him to attack Konoha directly. Madara knew the ninjas of his time were long death.
And only the Yondaime Hokage posed a menace. He planned it all. Kyuubi would be sealed in a baby. He would take the baby, raised it as a living weapon, one to burn Konoha to the ground. But he didn't count it on something. The fact that the baby security detail counted with the best Konoha could offer. Clan heads, Anbu, Black Ops. The kid was well protected. Even as a mortal, Madara was still bounded to wounds. He would get gravely wounded on the battle against so many ninjas. So he pulled back. Then it happened. The Uchiha massacre. I was surprised when I saw so many death Uchiha waltz in. There I knew, Madara had helped the murdered to obliterate the Uchiha clan. And now Madara is somehow related with this organization, Akatsuki. What other reason 9S class missing ninjas would have to chase the 9 jailers, defying the very ninjas village's power? I know Madara is behind this, and his ambition must be stopped, Hashirama stated seriously.
We believe only the blade of a Rayearth can kill Madara, to stop him and end the bloodshed he started before it gets worse. We know you are the only one who can stop Madara, Tobirama said, walking up to Naruto and handing him a notepad. Don't open it yet. It's a surprise, and something we the dead want you to do for us and our families. When it happens, you'll find out, Kushina told Naruto as she kissed him again on the forehead. Good luck, son. You've always made us proud, in life and in death. I'm proud to be your mother. Slowly, the place got brighter until Naruto couldn't see. Good luck, Naruto. We know you'll do well. A new day, dawn. For many people, dawn means the start of a new day and the birth of new opportunities. For members of the Hyuga clan, dawn means a new day and new chances, especially for those in the branch family, including Neji Hyuga, who was enslaved the day before. But those days seemed so far away now. The changes that had happened in the past few months, like Neji's loss on the exams, Naruto and Hinata's sudden engagement, Otto and Suna's attack on Konoha, the death of the Sandaime Hokage, Sasuke Uchiha's betrayal, the rise of the Rayearth of Wind, and what Hanabi and Naruto had seen and heard of Itachi himself, had made daily life seem like. As the sun rose on a new day in Konoha, there would be many changes, not just in the Hyuga clan but also in the people of Konoha as a whole. As usual, Naruto would be at the front of these changes, so he would be the one to lead them again. The boy woke up with a groan, his eyes slowly focusing. When they did, Naruto saw that he was cuddled up with Hinata, who was using him as a pillow. She had a smile on her face, and Naruto couldn't help but sigh with happiness. How long had he been waiting for this moment to come? How long did he have to wait to meet his parents? How long did he wait until she loved him back? So many questions he had asked himself were finally being answered. He knew who his parents were and why he was hated, and that reason was gone. He was loved, and he loved back, slowly but surely. It took time, sweat, and tears from him, but he was finally happy. Or as happy as he can be. Sasuke was outside, angry, alone, and delusional, but most of all, he didn't have any real friends or guidance. He wasn't kidding when he told Itachi that he knew he could save Sasuke. It was hard, but nothing some well-placed words and blows, a Rasengan here, a slash of K's no Yaiba there, maybe a headbutt to move Sasuke's brain and give him. Naruto sighed as he suddenly felt something on his hand. When he raised his hand, he saw that he was holding the same notepad Tobirama had given him. Using the stealth and cunning that only a ninja can muster, Naruto was able to get out of Hinata's embrace by pretending to be a pillow. He then looked at what was written on the notepad. Naruto's eyes got big when he saw that the contents weren't some kind of training or something like that. Instead, they were messages from all the dead people to their loved ones on the living world. Each message had the names and locations of the people who were supposed to carry it and the person who sent it. Naruto felt embarrassed that he would be the one to tell the living relatives of the dead about their loved ones who had died. He also knew that many people would think he was crazy or call him a demon again, one of the two. Naruto gulped when he saw that Hinata's father, Hiyashi, was the first person on the list to get a message. Hiyashi was the head of one of the biggest clans in Konoha and the master of the Juken. Naruto might be a Rayearth, but he knew that girls don't like perverts and that perverts die at the hands of girls. And Naruto had to think about a lot of things. He was going to give a man who had lost his wife a message from the afterlife. He was also going to get a lot of other messages from people on the other side who wanted to talk to him or ask him some questions. He could already tell that today was going to be one of those days. After 5 hours. Naruto dragged himself to Training Grounds 7 after spending 5 hours telling many people that they were going to die. This task turned out not to be as dangerous and bad as Naruto thought. Instead, it was touching, funny, and just plain weird all at the same time. First, he went to Hiyashi and showed him the notepad with the message from his dead wife. Hiyashi stood still for a whole minute, and Naruto thought he would beat him up. Instead, Hiyashi shed a single tear, thanked Naruto for making him feel better, and took something from the note with him to his office. Next, he went to Neji, who was already on the compound with Tenten as his personal nurse, and if his eyes weren't playing tricks on him, more than teammates and friends at that moment, he showed Neji the letter from his father. Again, after a minute of silence and a scroll in the seal of the note, Neji shed a single tear and said, "The truth sets us free," and started to roll out of the place, since he was still in a wheelchair. Then it was Hinata and Hanabi's turn. When he showed them the letter addressed to them, they both started crying and said it was unfair that he could see the death. When they got the scroll that was inside the letter, they left, still crying, but he couldn't blame them because it was their mother's message. After that, he went all over Konoha and told almost all of the ninjas he could find that their dead relatives had a message for them. Some of them cried, some were speechless, and some were a little surprised, since Naruto was the boy who liked to surprise and amaze. In the case of Tsunade, who saw the messages of not only her grandfather and uncle, but also her little brother Nawaki and her ex-lover Dan, Naruto had too. Naruto, what did you do now? Sakura asked, wondering what her teammate did to make him groan like that. Team 7 had broken up, but that didn't mean that their friendship had ended. No matter how powerful Naruto is now, he's still the same small imp with orange clothes, cocky smile, hypnotic blue eyes, and that contagious optimism that made anyone else believe they could take the world. Oh, not much, wandering around. Recovering of the beat-up you and Hinata gave me yesterday. Grasping the fact I have an army at my command on another world, talking with the death, Naruto said. Of course the last he said caught Sakura's attention. Talking with the, oh hell no, Naruto nodded. Knowing how much a brainstem Sakura was when she was interested on something. Namely the Rayearth Knights. And their powers. All their powers. It was not odd to him.
Many people, namely the kids on the academy, some ninjas on Chunin rank in the Anbu department wanted to know the true extent of Naruto's newly found powers, some because they had been present when Naruto had transformed on limit mode, and others because he had literally tore many imposed taboos involving him. Kyuubi's true outcome was not longer a secret, since all Konoha, kids included, were present and seeing via TV the events of the Battle of the Stadium. They had heard why the Uchiha massacre had truly occurred. Konoha's greatest secrets were not longer secrets, but rather the hottest gossip of all. Many girls who once loved Itachi now held the hope of capturing the heart of the martyr of the Uchiha clan, and much to the shock of a lot of people, Sasuke still had a fan group, filled with some hardcore girls that wanted to educate him once captured. Mainly those girls were girls on the torture and interrogation unit, so Sasuke had now a new reason to stay away of Konoha.
So, you can actually talk to death? Naruto nodded in response to Sakura's question. Unlike most people who asked the same question, Sakura didn't panic or stay quiet. Sakura asked Naruto, did you meet the Shoden? Is the Yondaime really your dad? Please tell me you met my grandfather. Naruto replied, in that order, yes, and no, unless he had pink hair to stand out among so many Konoha ninjas from so many generations. Baka. Wham. Sakura-chan. Naruto yelled when he saw Sakura's angry face. Baka, you make fun of my family curse. Sakura snapped, giving the blonde a look that said, curse? Pink hair is a family curse? Yes, you big idiot, someone in every generation of my family has pink hair. It was always men who got pink hair, including my great-grandfather, and that's what got him killed, according to my dad, Sakura said with a pout. Well. No wonder they didn't want you to become a kunoichi. Naruto exclaimed. It's not only that, I'm the second ninja in my family after my great-grandfather, but unlike him. Sorry, Sakura, I didn't know. Maybe next time I'll see him. Or, Naruto thought to himself as he pulled a notepad out of his shuriken pouch, opened it, and started to flip through the pages, until he stopped on a page. Yep, you got a message from the great beyond, care to take the call? He asked as he handed the notepad to Sakura. Sakura took it like it was going to break in. Not just any axe, but a freaking axe as big as Ibiki. The handle of the axe was easily as tall as Ibiki and was red with white wraps on some parts to make it easier to hold. When Naruto reached the middle of the handle, it was suddenly joined to a huge, curved, and silver-looking blade that looked sharp enough to chop rocks. On the top of the axe, Naruto was shocked to see a solid silver ball with spikes on it. Father once told me, this axe was passed from generation to generation on my family. Before we became traders, we were ninja. When my great-grandfather died, the axe got lost. Guess not so lost now, eh? Sakura questioned with a smirk. Sure, whatever you say, it seems all on Team 7 are meant to have a ridiculous big and overpowered weapon, Naruto muttered, earning a chuckle of Sakura, and another chuckle, more female and mature, but slightly taunting. Naruto's eyes grew wide when he felt the wind move around him. In an instant, Kei's no Yaiba was in his hands, and sparks flew when a small blade hit the huge weapon. What the hell? An elf? Naruto asked when he saw that his attacker was a female elf who was different from Estelwyn in many ways. Estelwyn wore a white robe that reached her calves and had leaf-like designs on it. She also wore green baggy cotton pants with gold carvings on the sides. A solid gold breastplate with several engraftments on silver in the shape of leaves around it and oddly a drill-like burn mark on the navel part. 2 slim-looking shoulder pads made on silver with a strange rune in them that resemble a tiger face in it.
Metallic forearm protectors hide the leaf green leather undergarments on her forearms and that were visible while forming a fingerless glove. What seemed a metallic gold-made miniskirt was visible, with several leaf green leather undergarments and attachments on the oddly movable and flexible miniskirt. What seemed leather boots that made it up to her thighs in white, with metallic protections on the knee section on gold and a shin protector on silver as well with gold leaf engraftments covered her legs. A richly decorated sheath hung of her waist on her left side, and some sort of face guard like the one the Nindime had, but in silver, with gold underlines and green cloth falling flanking her neck, with a more pronounced protection on her cheek sides, and a green gem in the middle of the headgear. In her right hand she held a curved and slim sword, that seemed like a reduced katana, or a curved ninjutsu, one of two.
"I finally found you, my lord," the girl said, nodding slightly while holding her sword tightly. "And who are you? I didn't see you with Estelwyn-san last night." Naruto asked. "My name is Siliverenial Kot, Vice Captain of the Court of Windguard, Mistress of Blades, proud daughter of the Great Tree." Siliverenial answered. "Yes, by orders of Her High Majesty and ruler of Crystalia, Queen Tanya V, the Rayearth Knights are to be taken to Crystalia and to her presence," Siliverenial said with a firm look on her face. "And why?" Sakura asked. "The Queen's orders must be followed without question," the elf warrior said. "Right? Whatever you say, I'll stay in Konoha, my home, in peace until I have a reason to go with you," Naruto said, turning his back on the elf. "Sadly that is not to happen. My orders are clear, either you come willingly, or by force. It doesn't affect my mission which way I bring you to Crystalia. The only thing that matters is bringing you to Crystalia, by any means necessary," Siliverenial said, narrow. He wasn't going to listen to her, so they were going to fight. Siliverenial smirked as he saw Naruto tighten his grip on the sword. He pulled out a small dagger from his thigh pouch, the same one he had used against the red beast. He tied the pommel ring to the cloth that hung from the grip of the sword. Then, he held the dagger in his left hand and the sword in his right. "I'm not going anywhere by force, trust me on this," Naruto said. "I've been there, and the hospital buildings aren't well protected." With that, Siliverenial launched herself at Naruto. In a flash, Naruto began to parry the fast and flexible attacks of the elf warrior. After several parries with great speed, Naruto saw an opening when she jumped again.
Grabbing the cloth, he threw the kunai attached to it at her.
Zap. The elf girl's eyes grew wide when Naruto flashed in front of her in a flash of electricity, grabbed the dagger, and then swung it at her. Her eyes widened in pain and she let out a painful scream as the blade tore her apart from the inside out. He didn't cut her flesh, but he did cut her armor in half in that spot. All went quickly for Sakura, who saw the flying thunder god in action for the second time. However, she had to admit that Naruto's use of her technique was strange and unexpected. You expect the kunai to stick at you, but it doesn't. Instead, it acts as a beacon for Naruto to teleport in front of his stunned opponent without any trouble. It was unpredictable and brilliant, just like Naruto. Sakura watched as Siliverenial fell to the ground, forgetting her sword and clutching her stomach in pain. The elf girl gasped in surprise when she was thrown by a strong gust of wind into a tree, where she hit the trunk and stopped breathing. When Siliverenial looked around, she saw Naruto's form. In less than 3 moves, he had disarmed her and defeated her. Even though she had fought evenly with Naruto's sensei, she was powerless against Naruto himself. She could have blamed her wounds, the fact that he was a Rayearth, the dagger, or the strange thing, but she didn't have a good reason to do so. A warrior doesn't blame victory or defeat. Sister Siliverenial. Estelwyn screamed, and soon her sister was kneeling in front of her, holding both cuts from the Rasengan and Kei's no Yaiba on her stomach. Do it. Kill me. I'm a broken tool. Siliverenial gasped, her pride was broken. She had been beaten easily like an amateur by a Rayearth who hadn't yet reached his full potential. She had failed, and in Queen Tania's eyes, failure meant death, so she was asking her liege to kill her. Why? Naruto asked, soon joined by Sakura. I'm a failure. I failed. My queen. Command, I deserve nothing less than death by your hand. Do it. Release me. Kill me. She gasped again. Weren't you once a proud daughter of the great tree and vice-captain of the Court of Wind? Where is that woman now? All I see is a girl who gave up at the first blow. I am, but I won't go back to my house in shame or let them take me, she said, pointing behind Naruto. When Naruto turned around, he saw 3 Anbu sitting on tree branches and Jiraiya close by. Don't worry, they won't get you, Naruto said, but Silveraniel laughed at him. How? Can you promise me that? What kind of power? What kind of position do you hold here to promise me that? She asked. None, I'm a genin, I'm low on rank, but I have my word, and I'm good as my word, I never go back on it, Naruto said. Why? Why would you help me? I don't understand. You're a Rayearth higher than me. You shouldn't be merciful. You should strike me down for my weakness. I'm not worth serving under your wing, Silveraniel said between gasps. Naruto noticed that the damage done by the blade seemed to be proportional to the strength behind it. Why would I do that? If I did that, I'd be alone. We all make mistakes, and it's up to you to fix them. Also, why should I think I'm better than you? I'm just like you. I breathe, bleed, cry, and laugh. Because it's in your nature, Wind is bold and strong. No. Wind is free and strong-willed, Wind is not arrogant, Wind is free and unpredictable. Like me. Naruto said with a sly grin to the fallen elf, who just stared at the blonde with confusion, with a lot of feelings mixing in her heart and so many conflicts in her mind. Silveraniel gasped, merciful, and grabbed Naruto's gloved hand. Merciful Naruto, she said, I'm your servant. I serve you and you alone. No. I hope one day you'll be a friend, not a servant, Naruto said as he helped Silveraniel stand up. The Anbu all thought, he's too soft, but Jiraiya thought, he's the one. The person who will break the cycle of hate. As this was happening, deep in another world, on another dimension, where Anima was watching Naruto, the powerful white wind tiger just had to say it. It's time. Night came to Konoha 5 months after Naruto talked with Death, 5 months after he met Estelwyn and Silveraniel and earned their trust, 5 months after he went on mission after mission, first on the land of snow, helping a princess find her lost courage, then on another part, helping a knight find his roots, on Moon Country, helping a kid recover his kingdom and valor, in a village where he helped a boy rediscover his true meaning of life, his. If someone wanted to find Naruto, they would ask for him by his new name, Naruto the Maelstrom, which means the boy who started to change the world. They would not ask for Naruto the Dead Last, which means the boy who lived. That night was clear and full of stars, but there wasn't a bright full moon. Instead, there was a black moon. Many people who saw it thought it was an eclipse, but it wasn't, because astronomers all over the world weren't surprised by the sudden black moon. That night, 8 people disappeared. At the same time, 9 people from each of several villages followed them to fulfill the goals of their leader. Meanwhile, the snake slithered off into the unknown, and the confused brother and his small army went after those who got away. All of them left through a gate given by the same person, but they didn't know they were just pawns in a game. That same night, 3 people waited at the gates of Konoha. An old man carrying a big scroll, a proud warrior, and a realistic sorceress. On a home, the person they were waiting for kissed goodbye to the person he started to love and had to leave. So much was at risk, so much was at stake, and if nothing was done, his happiness and the happiness of many others would be in danger. The person he loved knew this, so she pretended to sleep when she was really crying. He knew this, so he gave her a kiss on the lips, a kiss that answered her feelings that she poured out, a kiss that answered her doubts that she once asked him. He learned to love her, and he wouldn't let her go, and for him, she would wait forever if she had to. People in the village who knew him well couldn't sleep because they knew he was leaving. Instead of a party, which could have happened if he had left long ago, they were sad because his job was hard and he had made a place for himself in their hearts. They would wait for him, they would help him, and just as he stood up to their loneliness and fear, they would stand up to his absence because it was only temporary. He would come back, and then they would all be happy again. With a sigh, Naruto Uzumaki, the proud seed of the Konoha Great Leaf Tree, Jiraiya of the Sannin, a sage and warrior, Estelwan Damag, a realistic sorceress, and Saliveran Ilkat, the proud warrior of a proud race, left for the core world through a bright portal that opened in front of them one by one until only Naruto was left. He turned around and faced the statue of the former Hokages. Making a fist, he aimed it at them and said, "I promise. I won't fail, I'll come back. I'll help him along with the teacher." Naruto Uzumaki, the son of Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze, the former Kyuubi jailer, the Rayearth of Wind, the human maelstrom, said, "I will save him." With that bow in his hand, he walked to the portal that would take him on the greatest adventure of his life. He would find allies from other worlds, friends in unexpected places, and enemies in front of him and around every corner. But that didn't matter, because he was ready for them. The question was, were they ready for him? Were the Rayearth Knights ready for them? That was a question that could only be answered by time.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.